the bike for an extended amount of time, what you pack or what you bring with you or what you carry on the bike really sets the tone for how the trip is going to go. I carried a backpack, a small, low-pro camera bag, which is what I kept kind of my essentials in. And then I carried a small duffel bag that was on the seat behind me, secured so that I could carry all of my clothes. The clothes part I didn't care about. That if it rained, that it could get wet, it didn't matter. I'd throw them in a dryer when I got there. It wasn't that big of a deal. But the backpack is really what I want to focus on for this first part. If you're gonna spend, I'm gonna go ahead and say, if you're gonna spend more than 2 hours on the bike, really consider what you're gonna put in the bag. Keeping it lightweight is a good thing, but at the same time, changing the overall profile of the bag on like how it affects wind as it goes over you and beside you really will affect how it feels on your back as well as what's in it. I had a pair of shoes, a hoodie, like an extra hoodie, all of my charging stuff for the GoPros and the tablet, my phone, all of my GoPro mounts and accessories that I needed for the trip. You guys can see right there, that's where I had my front-facing camera. What else did I have in my bag? I almost brought that tablet computer project I've been working on for Tessa, but I decided to sub that out for that extra hoodie just because of the fact that that was going to be pure entertainment and that wasn't going to be functionality. And I carried my tennis shoes in the same pocket, so if I was going to have both, I couldn't carry that extra layer of protection, like layer of warmth for me. Because when I left the house, if you guys saw the Instagram photo, when I left the house, all of the trees were frozen solid. The ground wasn't frozen for the road, but everything else was. All the vegetation, it was crazy. So it was really cold. So if you're gonna pack a backpack, pack it light and pack one that's comfortable on your back for an extended amount of times. I would really suggest that you guys get the ones that have like the chest straps and the stomach strap, because it really does help pull the bag to you and it won't get blown around as much. The second biggest thing that I'm gonna talk about is your gear, what gear you decide to ride with. I run the Icon Patrol winter / all-weather gauntlets. I guess they would be winter. They're waterproof and wind resistant. These are my choice winter gloves, but at the same time, to be honest with you, nothing that's not powered, like not heated, is gonna hold out for too long. I haven't worn anything yet that's been decent enough to like combat the cold. Because eventually over time, the material of the glove just gets cold. So then your hand will get cold. It doesn't even matter about if it's wind or wet. Eventually the material acts like a refrigerator and it cools down your hand. I was able to get probably a good, roughly 2 hours worth out of the gloves before my hands got really cold. And that's whenever I would pull over and get gas and eat and everything. And that ended up actually working out really well because I had a 6-hour trip. For my jackets, I wore my normal Columbia. I have a Columbia like windproof, a really light windbreaker that I wear over my leather jacket. Under my leather jacket, I wore a light hoodie and a long sleeve t-shirt, and that was all I needed for upper body protection. I was never cold. For my legs, I wore 2 pair of Columbia, I guess they would be considered snowboarding pants. They're that light material that's kind of fluffy. The reason why I chose to wear 2 is because this trip, I knew that I was going to be riding in non-predictable weather because I was going to be traveling through 3 separate states down south. And this was just for my trip down from Georgia to Florida. That was the only part that I was actually on the bike. The reason why I wore 2 was because I had no clue what I was going to be riding into in retrospect of how cold it was going to be and if it was going to rain. And these aren't waterproof to the sense that they can withstand 70-mile-an-hour water. they're waterproof in the sense that, you know, if I get rained on, I'm good, just standing still. But if I'm driving through nothing but sheets of water, it sucks. I can normally get about 45 minutes out of them before it starts to soak through and actually get to my jeans. So I chose to wear 2 pair of them. And for the entire trip, my body, like my legs and my upper torso and my arms, were all plenty warm. I think the highest it got was in the 50s when I got down into Florida, and the lowest I think was like 28 when I left Georgia that morning. So those 2 pair were worn over just a regular pair of Levi jeans, and I wore long tube socks and then my riding boots. And my riding boots are the Spitty XPDs or something like that. And those withstood a decent bit of wind until probably about 3 hours in, where my toes started getting cold. And yet again, that goes back to the refrigerator effect that I was talking about on the gauntlets. Overall, the whole trip was definitely a success going down to Florida and then also coming back up from Florida. I had a little bit better luck on the way up from Florida because it was warmer. But man, I'll tell you what, it was a learning experience. You really do learn a shitload about your bike, about wind, about everything when you go on a road trip like that. So if I was going to suggest anything to anyone who's going to make a long trip, and I know April 25th for the Georgia meetup here is coming up pretty quick, and I know quite a few people are actually riding in. I think I checked the other day and someone was coming from Michigan, and it looked like they were going to take 3 days to come down, which I assumed you were riding. I don't know. But if you're going to go on any kind of a long trip, definitely plan out your gear, your loadout, like what you bring in your bag and what you can charge and take with you. I ran my Sena headset for navigation and everything, and it ran great, but I forgot to charge it on the way back up from Florida, and I got fucked. Luckily, I had remembered the directions, as well as I had a hard copy that I had written down on paper that I kept in the bag. I was able to get my way back out without needing the Sena. So for those of you who are going to make that long trek up here, definitely remember that you can layer up your gear, but as you move further south, remember that you want to keep enough room in your bags in case you need to take any gear off. Luckily for me, I never had to, so I didn't have to worry about getting too hot or anything like that. So another thing that I would say is definitely plan out what mileage you're going to do, like your stints, because certain bikes are only comfortable for certain durations of time. And like I found out, I've always been really comfortable on my bike, but I found out that 2 hour limit was about all I could handle before I needed to get off the bike and stretch. All in all, you know, if you've never done a long trip like that, or even if you have, really take a minute before you leave to consider what you're bringing with you and what you're going to be wearing and everything, and the capabilities of your motorcycle, because I don't think I'll ever be able to do cross-country riding like some people do, like the Iron Butt Association and everything. Fuck that. That's you guys can have that. That is not for me. But I will say that this trip has I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about riding a motorcycle and being on a motorcycle for an extended amount of time that I can really use later. So you guys definitely keep eyes on the channel. I'm going to put up in bits and pieces the kind of LST stuff that we did. If you guys are watching this now, you guys have already seen the trip to Texas. I put up a dash cam in the Spartan Tundra and just did a time-lapse mode of every 5 seconds. So if you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. It's to me, it's interesting. That's why I wanted to do it. And like I said, keep eyes. I'm also gonna have a kind of like a music video-ish of all the different trucks and stuff that are at the show, because it was actually really cool. It was really interesting to see a different side and a different culture of motorsports that we don't really touch that often because we're on 2 wheels instead of 4. But man, some of those trucks that were there were unbelievable. I could not imagine how much money and how much time went into some of those machines. It was ridiculous. But keep eyes on the channel. I'll put up more of the LST stuff, and I'll also put up some of the, you guys have seen through this one, some of the riding footage that I had. I had the front face, like I said before, I had a front-facing camera. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys are going on any long trips anytime soon, especially if you're going to be riding up here for the Georgia meetup. Let me know like how long it's going to be, or let me know what the longest trip has. And if you guys ever had any problems. You guys take it easy. I'm gonna fucking haul ass home because I'm freezing. Oh my gosh, dude. It is so fucking cool.